Hey there, Everett Community College. My name's Samantha Chapman with the Clipper, and today we are interviewing Sara Shaefer.
Here I am.
Sarah's a comedian, and today she's performing a set here in the Jackson Auditorium. So thank you for being here, Sarah.
Thanks so much for having me.
My first question for you is, when did you get into comedy?
Let's see. I didn't officially start pursuing it until after I graduated from college. But I was always interested in comedy and being trained to be funny ever since I was a kid. But after I graduated from college, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And after about a year of trying to figure it out, I decided to do the riskiest thing first. Even though you never know what's going to happen, but pursuing comedy seemed like a big risk. Not many people get to do it for a living, so I decided to try that first, and then if it didn't work out, I could try something else. But and it worked out.
It worked.
It took a really long time. It took a really long time, but I made it.
So yeah,
look at me now.
You did make it, and what I want to know is, when did you realize that you were like in the big leagues?
Oh, I still don't feel like I'm in the big leagues.
Even though you had your own MTV show.
I know, but that's how...
You've touched Jimmy Fallon.
I have touched him. I've worked with him for a long time. But yeah, it's you're always looking for that next thing, and always trying to grow. So I always feel like I'm, I think a lot of comedians deal with a lot of self-doubt, but you have to be thick-skinned at the same time, because there's a lot of rejection involved in this business. So I think for me, obviously getting the MTV show was like a massive opportunity and big break for me, to create and sell a show that I get to host and co-host, and write, and I mean, it was our creation. Anyway, so yeah, I made it. No, I think that was a big moment, but there's always little different areas of your career that you're trying to improve on, and I didn't really start making my living as a stand-up comedian until more recently, in the past couple of years, to where I could just live off of stand-up. For a while I was cobbling together a career out of different things, and then now I have the flexibility to, I can live off stand-up for a while I'm getting other things off the ground. So that's the past couple of years has felt like I'm on a new plateau, and I'm like, whew, I'm not hanging off the side of a cliff anymore.
Some point in that hanging off the side of a cliff stage, you wrote for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
How did.
Do you write for, what do you write for?
I wrote the questions. Yeah, it's a really hard job actually, but really fun. It's a hard mental job, but the hours are great. I went from Fallon, working at Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, as I ran all of the internet interactive stuff for them, and was really involved in the show creatively as well, which was great that they let me do that. And but that job was like 12 hours a day, then going home, still working at night. I mean, it consumed my whole life. And when I left, because I was trying to move into writing for TV and being on TV and not being, I mean, even though the Fallon thing was great, it was just like I had to move on, because it was like, it was killing me.
Yeah.
But so I had to get out, and I went to this millionaire job, my first writing gig. And people would be like, why would you go from Fallon to that?
Yeah, that's just it's just a weird jump.
But it made sense for me if you understand the workings of it, which is I got to get into the Writers Guild, which is the union for writers, and once you're in that, you have access to a lot of writing jobs, and the hours were great, so that freed up time at night for me to develop this show with Nikki, and it was like it was a strategic move, and the job is amazing. Like, I got to write the questions for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which was awesome.
That's really cool. Also, right now you have a web series called Day Job.
I do.
What is that inspired by?
It was I just did like 11 episodes, like moments, all inspired from my real day job that I had when I first graduated from college, and I was pursuing comedy in New York City. And I had this big day job in an office, and it was very intense, but also very corporate and boring. And it was all about wanting to pursue a dream outside of that job, but being good at the job, and like not knowing how to get out of it. So sometimes you'll hear comedians be like, oh, I was a failure at everything else. I got fired from everything, and so I had to do this. And I'm like, well, not to brag, but I'm good at other stuff. So, so it was actually kind of, you can get pulled into something that feels easy. Because the real big payoffs creatively are not easy.
Yeah.
And so the series tried to capture some of that essence and the comedy of what it was like to do that. But it's exciting because now I'm developing it into a TV show. Stay tuned.
That's exciting.
Nothing official yet, but follow me on Twitter. I don't know, do y'all use Twitter?
We use Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not on Snapchat.
Twitter's the
I'm
thing
so sorry.
that kids do.
Anyway, so yeah.
All right, so one more question. Do you have any advice for people who are considering comedy as a career?
Okay, well, first of all, you should just be rich. That would help. Because okay, when I say be rich, that's helpful. I wasn't rich, but I'm just kidding. Obviously, you do what you can. But be ready. What I mean by that is just be ready for it to take a really long time to make a living at it. And you have to have another plan. You have to have a way to make money. You can't just expect to move to New York or LA and be like, in 1 year, I'm gonna be on Saturday Night Live. That's not gonna, sometimes that happens, but I would say very rarely does somebody make it really quick.
Yeah.
And the ones that do, they have trouble. It doesn't mean it's gonna last forever. So you have to be ready, you have to be well-rounded, you have to develop skills outside of just being able to tell a joke. But aside from all that, none of that matters if you don't have the true commitment and desire to make it happen because of what you have to put up with, the level of rejection, the constant mind games that happen, because comedy is subjective. And so what you think is funny will be different from what I think is funny. And what that means in your career is that some people that you don't think are funny are gonna go ahead and get famous. And you're gonna be over in your corner being like, but I'm funnier than that person. And so there's a lot of mental stuff. And then, so aside from all of that, you have to want it, and the way you translate wanting it into actually making it is performing and writing as much as you possibly can. Squeeze in as much as you can while you're trying to still pay the rent and the bills. Every other second of your life should be focused on comedy. Ruin all your relationships. Put those aside.
Great advice. All right, well, that's all the time we have. Thank you, Sarah,
Thank you.
so much. And stay tuned for more about Sarah from the Clipper.
Rewarding. We're doing a video.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Get the hell out of here. I'm kidding. She's already thinks I hate her. Anyway, please edit that out.
I can edit that.